Hi, I'm Dmitro Shvets, your host at the Start Global Insights, where I interview local experts in different countries about local insights and international expansion experience. Today, my guest is Karolina Janik, and we will talk about Poland. Karolina has almost 20 years of experience in marketing communication, and she is the owner and CEO of Personal PR, the biggest integrated communication agency in Pomerania in Poland, and also she is a lecturer in the University of Gdansk. Cześć, Karolina.
Cześć Dmitry. Hello, I'm very happy to be here and I will share my knowledge about Poland and communication with you today.
Thank you. Thank you for agreeing to support the show and share your experience. It is very important to know how it is going from inside. It is always interesting what do local experts think about the situation in the country. And the biggest question that we always have is how to sell, how to find clients in the country, etc. But the marketing question or the communication question is not that much talked about. How do you think when the company is entering the country, how it is important to consider this direction as well?
So, basing on our experience when a company is entering Polish market, it is important to do the research, because each country has its own characteristics and Poland is also specific in some aspects of building business here. So if you want to sell in Poland, you have to be visible and you have to be also aware of the mechanisms that are working here. Polish people are open to welcome any businesses from abroad, but they also expect some effort from those players. So, for example, it is very important to have some people who speak local language too. And no matter what branch you have your business in, you have to adjust to Polish market, because we have seen a lot of even big brands entering Polish market and they didn't succeed because they didn't want to listen what Polish companies and Polish clients want. So, for example, Polish Allegro, a big online shopping place, has won the market and eBay didn't succeed. So it is important, like to sum up, if you want to sell in Poland, you have to start thinking like a Polish company and start being present in the places where Polish companies are. And to do this, to be visible, you have to communicate. You have to show that you are in Poland, that you are aware of our expectations, and then you have a big chance to succeed.
And Polish market is quite a big market, so it is quite a big country. And I think that to communicate to the right client and actually to understand what your client really wants, you need to be quite focused on that. Yeah, so you need to select the right communication channels. What are the common or the most common communication channels in Poland for B2B business?
Depending on the sector, depending on the branch, there are different channels, but one is common for most of them is, of course, LinkedIn. It's a very powerful social media platform in Poland, rising still in numbers of unique users. And I think that being there is very important, but being in the professional way, communicating with people who you want to talk to and building relationship, because sales is more difficult when I get direct messages saying that I want to sell you something, I'm from abroad, I want to work in Poland. It is not saying what values I can get. The other media that can help are always sector media. So, for example, there are dedicated platforms and media for FMCG, for hotels and restaurants, for IT sector. You have to look for those titles and not only be present there, but also read and follow what is going on, what problems the sector and challenges has. Social media in general are very popular in Poland. I would say that LinkedIn for Business, perhaps Facebook, depending on the sector, Instagram. Companies are entering also TikTok. Twitter is not popular in Poland. And many people in Poland also, they speak English quite well, especially younger persons. But to have someone who speak our language, the native speakers, is very important in sales, I think.
Does it depend on the industry, you think?
It depends on age and the industry, of course, but it is always easier to communicate with someone who speaks the same language, because building relationships is easier, it's more natural. So it is not impossible, for example, to do some business in English. But if you want to sell in Poland, you have to be prepared with Polish materials too.
So the marketing materials should be in Polish.
Yes, should be or in Polish or Polish and English. We have clients, for example, from banking or fintech industry, and they come from different countries and they try to sell in Poland. And we see from the practical point of view that, for example, media journalists, they prefer to read in Polish. If the company doesn't have a website or any landing page dedicated to Polish market, it is more difficult, because it is not only the language, but the attitude, the different groups can like judge. If you want to be in Poland, let's translate the website or materials in Polish because you want to be in Poland. It is important.
Okay. And talking about the social media, you mentioned that Facebook is also quite popular in Poland for communication. Do Polish business people split personal life and business life? Is it okay to contact, for example, some potential clients in Facebook?
To be with your business on Facebook, you have to be careful, because mixing too much personal life with professional life, I think it's not a good idea. But to build relationships on Facebook and get to know the company representative on Facebook, I think it's quite good idea. It's easier to talk with someone who has the same hobbies, or, for example, have children in the same age. You always can find some points to talk about. But to start the conversations about business, I think still LinkedIn is much better. Although, if you want to do some social media campaigns, you can use a company page on Facebook, and then it should work. For example, for any lead generation materials, then I would say that Facebook is still okay.
Coming back to research, yeah, so you said that to be successful in communication, you first need to understand the client and what are their pains and maybe the wishes, yeah, or the requirements. Could you share some kind of roadmap for a company that is entering Polish market, how they should do this research?
I would say that first of all, you should look for some sector associations or advisory bodies, institutions that collect information about the market or set the standards on the market. I think we have in Poland many of those independent resources that you can look for. And then you can also see what the sector is talking about, what challenges the particular companies have, what they are fighting with. For example, IT sector, they need people to work, and no matter where you're from, if you are a programmer or you are specialized in databases or cybersecurity, there is a place for you. Those kind of associations and institutions, they are always a good idea to have a look at. Later on, building partnerships. So I think that it's good to start not with your dream clients in particular country, but to start with perhaps some smaller companies to start to talk and to get the insights, the consumer insights, what they need. For example, if they want to show your experience, your credentials, or just they want to test. Customer insights are always very important, and I think it's quite easy to start this kind of individual research. There are also some associations of, for example, PR agencies all over the world. So if you join this kind of organization, you also get insights from similar to you companies. So then you also learn faster. Many companies that want to enter Polish market, they look for PR agencies. And why? Because they want to understand how the market is and how to show up. And sometimes it is only that we help to understand, and sometimes it is that we launch the company on the market. So I think that if someone seriously wants to enter the market, so communication should be a very important part on the roadmap. And later, sales. To support your sales, you have to choose some companies that you want to work with, and perhaps try to set up individual meetings. Then you already know what the market is because you checked different organizations, and you are visible because you've done the PR lesson. So then you can go to your client and try to sell. I think it's not difficult, the road at all, but it has to be done step by step.
How do you think, how much time do you need for this communication period before you start your sales?
It depends on the idea, actually. I think that several months, perhaps 3 months of doing the communication may bring the results. Because if we talk about coming to Polish market after the 24th February, then you have to remember that many companies entered our market just after, and we already have those companies in our country. So to be visible, you shouldn't build your communication on being, for example, from Ukraine, because it's too late. You have to build your professional image on your skills and expertise. So you have to find the time of building the communication depends on the idea and on that how much you understand the market. I cannot say how much the campaign should last to be successful. Sometimes it's enough when your CEO of or the person who will be a face on Polish market will be active on LinkedIn and build relationship between those people who are important on the market for your sector. So it may be 1 month, it may be 3 months, depending on the subject, depending on the budget.
So the roadmap should look like you need to understand the client. Yeah, so you need to make your homework and research the pains of your client and what are the game rules at the market. And then you need to communicate about your brand and your potential presence at the market in Poland. And only then you should start your like cold sales when your potential clients already have heard about you or have seen you. So this initial trust of visibility is already built.
Yes, exactly. You have to build the credibility and visibility, and then you can go to the market.
And you also mentioned that there should be a person or like a face of the company that is also in media or in communication channels. How important it is to have this person, or you can communicate on behalf of company, of the brand, or you should have this personal brand of the people who will be active at the market.
We trust people. When we don't know the brand, we trust a person. So, in my opinion, it is very important to build the expert visibility or not only one, but several experts may represent the company, the brand, because it's easier and more effective in time to build a person visibility. So I would say that if you want to communicate on the new market, you have to do it parallelly at the same time. Try to build a brand, but lever it with a personal branding. It is much easier to talk to a company when you have an overview who represents the company and how this person is acting. For example, on LinkedIn, is he or she very strict and straight, or more, the type of communication says a lot about how the company is and how people inside behave. So I would say that it is important to show the faces who are standing behind the company.
And what about the events or like B2B business events when somebody is acting as a speaker, or if the company is organizing some business event, how it is now in Poland? Is it popular to do that? And is it like a common communication channel as well?
Fortunately, after the pandemics, we are coming back to offline life, and a lot of conferences, a lot of events are already back. This tool is very effective and very good for making relationships and showing up with the cases with experience that companies have. So, for example, my favorite is InfoShare. It is based in Gdansk. The conference, it is really huge, and it is combined with the shows are and the presentations are combined with a job fair. So you can meet big companies that are looking for especially IT people. So if you are a company, you can perhaps offer a whole team to work for a big player. And if you have experience, if you've done good things, or if you specialize in particular niches, it is very good to come up and join the conference as a speaker. And a lot of people will hear about you, and a lot of people will get to know you. So it is a very good tool, a great way to build your presence in Polish market.
And maybe you can give a hint how to get to, as a speaker to this type of conferences or events. What is the way to do that?
You can make a calendar, find those conferences, and check when in a year, in last year's, what month the conference or event took place. It is possible that next year it will take place more or less at the same time. And few months earlier, you have to contact the organizer and present yourself. Many conferences, they have on their website a place call for speakers, so you can join and fill in the form there. Those conferences, they accept in most of the cases English speaking people. So you fill in, and it is very important how your pitch will be prepared, what values you will underline. But in general, I think it's quite easy to do it.
And I think this is quite a good reason to contact and use other media channels for that, to announce your part in this event, and maybe afterwards, like a post release could be also used. How it is popular in Poland to use other media to communicate?
In general, we use social media to communicate when you are present at some event or conference. But the organizers of the events, they often have partnerships with media like print or online or TV or radio. So this is also the opportunity for you, but taking into consideration how many speakers are at the event, I wouldn't say that it is a great chance, because you would have to have really a great subject, something amazing to show, to be put in the media on that occasion. But being at the conference always builds a credibility. You can always say that, yeah, I have some interesting things to say. I was present, I was a speaker at the conference A, for example. So it is worth to have a chat with me. I would like to add here something about media relations in Poland, because it is a very important part of building your visibility and credibility. But you have to have a news to go to media. So if you are an expert, you can get place in media, in sector media, to be communicated, but you shouldn't bother journalists with any news that is not a news for Polish market, because they will not accept it, and they will not like the brand. So you have to be very careful with media. The rising place where you can be present are podcasts, and that is a good idea to have a podcast. Perhaps your brand can have a podcast and talk about subjects that are interesting, important for your sector. It costs time, but people like to listen podcasts, and the public of this kind of medium is still bigger and bigger in Poland. And I think a good idea to show up is making webinars. You can also get to let people know you, and not only from audio, but also record the videos, invite people, build relationships, perhaps invite bigger than you are, and then the public of your brand will increase. So building on your roadmap of PR roadmap communication, you should include podcasts or webinars too.
So the online events are also a chance to present yourself.
Yes, online events after the pandemics are also very powerful. So if you have a chance to take part, or if you have an idea to organize it by yourself, I think it's a very good way to let the world know that you are here. Conferences or perhaps some workshops on the particular subject. It's a good idea, quite easy to promote and get the visibility that will be supportive in sales.
And what about the expos, the exhibitions? Are they still popular and it is worth to be present at that?
I would say yes, because, for example, the big conferences, they have expo sectors at the same time. So you really can go to expos and show up there. It is important to know that the big companies in Poland that, for example, hire IT sector, they really take a lot of attention to how they show their brand on the expo. So to be there and only have leaflets, it makes no sense. It's better than to go there as an attendee and just to make contacts, build relationships. But if you want to show up and really make a good impression, then you have to have an idea what to do on that place. So it is also the internet, the place where you can look for how the presentations took part, look at the photos, look at the videos from the conferences to see what the brands do to attract people and to draw attention to their company.
So to analyze what it is at the market already, how do Polish companies present themselves, yeah, and understand what is the best way to present yourself at the market as well.
Yes, and underline your skills that you are experts. That is important because no matter where you're from, if you understand and the market and you have skills, it is really a good way to start in Poland.
Coming back to the traditional media, you said that to get into that, you need to have real news for Polish market, yeah, to bother the journalists. But what is the way to contact them?
There are different ways to contact journalists. You can catch them up on Twitter because journalists are present on Twitter, or LinkedIn, or just try to call the press office and try to find people who are writing about what you are doing, your sector. It is important, the pitch. We are coming back to the pitch. You have to know how to introduce yourself and to show the advantages that you are giving to the market, because if you fail in this, you will be transferred to sales department, and the newspaper or any other medium will try to sell you ads. So if you want to build relationship with journalists, you really have to be prepared and to know what you want to tell, what you want to say. So, for example, if you make a report about some specific needs on Polish market, or if you have anything to say from your perspective that will help our market, it has to be about Polish market. Then you may try to find this pretext to do the contact. Journalists, they have not much time. So, a good idea, if you have something to say, is, for example, to invite three journalists to online briefing and talk to them online. Phone call is always a good way, but remember that you have to be careful how you speak, what you say, and if you are able to present what you want to say in really two sentences at the beginning.
From your experience working with international companies entering Polish market, can you say several like the main and biggest mistakes that they do?
Yes, I will try. So, not being prepared in Polish language, it is a very big mistake. So, having a landing page or website in Polish is important. Not having any Polish employees is also a mistake, because they can really shorten your way of understanding how people think, how they work, what they expect. Not being present in social life or not being present at events and conferences is also a mistake. If you want to be here, be present and become a part of ecosystem. Then not listening is also something we say, yeah, everyone says that you have to listen to the market, but it is true. You have to really try to understand what people need from you. Sometimes the small details the companies do that are not well welcomed on the market, and they say, yeah, but we do it in that way and it works. Sometimes the small details may be this thing that will put you further from your success. What else? Yeah, the mistake is to build your presence on a bit who you are, but not what you do. To emphasize your skills and competence and professionalism is what you should do. In general, it's not understanding the market and being not elastic. It's also something that I would say companies should have, because one year we go this way, but the second year the market or the needs can change, and then you have to shift into other direction. Polish people, I would say, are dynamic and they try to adjust, and they adjust very well to the market. So if you are agile, you may be closer to your success. So be agile is very important.
Okay. I also wanted to understand how it is easy to interview people. So when you are making some kind of research and you would like to get these insights from the market, then you need to contact your potential clients or the local stakeholders and ask them some questions or make some interviews. How would you advise to do that? How easy it is to contact these people, or how to interest them in this conversation so they will share these insights?
I would say that you have to be true in what you are saying. If you ask your direct competition, then probably they won't be so willing to share these insights. But if you choose the right people and you write to them as you've done to me, and if you say what is the reason for the contact, what you would like to understand, then I think people will find time for that because in Poland, I think we are quite open to talk to other people when we know why and when we feel safe. So, when we know the reason, I think you will get those insights. And again, I would come back to LinkedIn because it is a great tool when you first get into interactions with people, comment their posts, share their posts, and later on you will say that yes, I need some answers because these questions are crucial for my future, for my presence in your country. I think you will find the understanding. Of course, perhaps not 100% people will answer. Not all of them will give you those insights, but I can imagine that you will find information. The same with questioning some institutions or associations. If you ask for help, I can imagine you will get it. So it depends on, again, how you present yourself. If you will show your true feelings, your needs, then I think, and intentions, of course, then I think you will get what you want.
Okay, and talking about these institutions, especially the governmental or this official, like chambers of commerce, for example,
Yes.
do you think it is a good idea to use them to enter the market?
I think it's a very good idea. All the chambers have good relationships with local business. They know a lot of people. They have many activities that gather people together, online, offline. So I would say that you should decide on one or two this kind of institutions for the beginning because you won't have time for everything, and get involved. Get involved, give what you can give from your side, share, show that you want, that you are interested, and you will be engaged. And then I think good things can happen because in Poland we like relationships and we like references, yes. So if you are a good reliable partner, you will get references. For example, I don't run sales. It is only that someone has heard that we are doing good things. We also take part in trades and we show up, we do the communication. But after years, we do not need any sales. So I wish that everyone has this situation. But if you are good in your job and you can communicate with people, people like you, then it will really go on without much sales support. So chambers and institutions that are gathering people, businesses are a very good idea. And also the governmental institutions are a good direction. They have different programs for foreigners that are coming into Poland. Sometimes these are programs that are giving some financial support or public relations support. So it is good to know it at the stage of research, also the research what you can get for free.
Great. Thank you, Karolina, for the insights and for your experience. Maybe the last question to you. Could you give the like the most important advice to our Ukrainian exporters, to companies that are looking to enter Polish market, what would you advise them to do it successfully?
First of all, you are all very welcomed, and we need your work on our market. Concentrate on that what you can do well, that you like to do. Try to learn Polish, try to understand what are the needs, because we are very similar in thinking, but there are some details that are different for sure. And be brave, and try to find your place, and you will find it for sure.
Dziękuję bardzo. Thank you very much for your experience and being on the show.
Thank you very much, and good luck for everyone.